Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and this is a paid request for Steven. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box. I will get to as soon as I possibly can. And for those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. And like I say, it could be any topic, tier list, review, re-review, thought streams, commentaries, video game playthroughs, whatever the case may be. Tier list ranking, and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. So thank you. So the movie, as you can tell tonight, is Texas Rangers from 2001. Now I did write notes down like I usually do just to help further my thoughts, so I'm not sitting here saying a lot of ums and uhs and thinking what else to say. But before I even get to this film was butchered to all living fucking hell. You know, it's funny, Steven on Facebook told me that he had seen this film and said, hey, I want to send you this paid request, get your thoughts on it. And he said, well, I don't really notice these type of things, but it does feel like this film was butchered. And trust me, Steven, it is not just you. This was butchered. Now, it made sense, Sally, because it was released by Dimension Films. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, who is with Dimension Films? The Weinsteins, which have a habit of dismantling movies, screwing with directors. Guillermo del Toro, I know, had issues with them with Mimic, although I do quite like Mimic. But I know there are certain casting choices and other stuff he could not do. Cursed, that whole production. Plentiful amount of movies you can name that the Weinsteins put their grubby hands on and messed with. Either with editing, cutting stuff out, re-editing the film. Of course, there was the whole thing with Halloween 6, different cuts, all that stuff. Sorry for my mouth movements, the damn sinuses, the damn weather changes like 180 every other day. Back on tangent here. This movie, if you take out the end credits, is only an hour and 21 minutes, give or take. Again, if you take out the end credits, it's not often you see an 80-minute Western. And you could tell stuff was cut out because there's a lot of times where they use white flashes or people just appear in certain places. Characters, for some reason, are here. Things seem like it should have been built up, but it's not. This feels like a movie that's in fast forward. Granted, it did not make for a boring film, but it feels like everything is in a rush and there's no time to breathe. And by the time you think of something, then we're on to this, this, and this. And then you think, well, then we're on to this, this, and this. And it just, again, it's like watching a movie on fucking fast forward. Now, I know John Milius, years before this, wanted to make this film. He had written the script, but things didn't work out. And years later, after this, John Milius said that his script was completely discombobulated, mauled, torn apart. I forget the exact wording he said, but pretty much those were all the above of those words is his meaning. And when I looked at the talent, Steve Miner directed this. He's a good, capable director. Friday the 13th Part 2 and 3. House with William Katt in the 80s. That's a fun film. I like Lake Placid for what it is. I like Halloween H2O despite its flaws. I mean, I don't like every film he's done. Later, he would do the Day of the Dead remake with the vegetarian zombies. Or zombie, at least. But, like I said, you could tell there was a lot of finessing and messing around with this one. The cast, you got James Van Der Beek from Dawson's Creek. You got Ashton Kutcher, who at the time was on That 70s Show. Getting into movies with films, you would have The Butterfly Effect and other films later on. Usher Raymond, yes, Usher, who before this was in The Faculty, I believe. He was in that. Then you also have some older actors. You got Dylan McDermott, who I remember from the film Hamburger Hill. Let's see, he was The Practice, the TV show? I want to say it was that. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that. Alfred Molina, who would later be Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2. He played the villain in this. Tom Skerritt has a small role in this, of course, from Alien and The Dead Zone and many others. Robert Patrick has a role in this. Randy Travis. Rachel Lee Cook, who I remember from the Dick Carter remake, which was before this. So a lot of familiar faces in the movie. And the plot, let's say, now granted, if nothing was messed around and you had the full film, would it be a good film? I don't know. Maybe it would be a mediocre film. Maybe it would be a boring, bad film in a different light. Maybe something else entirely. I don't know. But again, you don't have to be a connoisseur of film, of anything, to know that a lot of stuff was cut out of this. Again, when certain scenes end and then there's this white flash, okay, you know that there's probably more stuff happening. They made like a big edit. Someone did. I guarantee you there's a story behind this film. I guarantee you if you ask Steve Miner about this, there's got to be some juicy stories about being messed with and the Weinsteins and all that jazz. I guarantee you this was a film that was supposed to be a lot longer. Because a lot of times with scripts, they made films too long and then, they edit out, trim the fat. Because not every film needs to be 2 hours or more. But this, anyway. The story, it starts with Tom Skerritt he's been told by the governor of Texas to get Dylan McDermott, who is dating, and actually it starts before that with a narration. I think it's James Coburn doing the narration. I don't know why this feels like narration that was done after the fact. I don't know why I get that feeling. Could absolutely be wrong. But Tom Skerritt is supposed to get Dylan McDermott, and then we're going to start the Texas Rangers. Then it cuts to James Van Der Beek coming home to this town in the middle of nowhere to see his mom, his dad, and his brother. Literally talks with them for 20 seconds. And then boom, Alfred Molina and his men come in. And then after a little bit of talk with some people there, they annihilate most of the people. And it gets to a moment, I know this is spoiling it, but bear with me, where one of the dead bodies is on James Van Der Beek. And I guess you could say he's pretending to be dead. The men go away. It cuts to, all of a sudden, James Van Der Beek is in the middle of the fucking desert, walking. As if he's, High Plains Drifter. He's just walking in the desert. You would think there'd be moments of him looking at the town, looking at his parents, maybe putting his family in certain spots. Did he have to sneak away? Or did he not have to sneak away? If he had to sneak away, how did he sneak away? How did he get away? If he did not have to sneak away, wouldn't there be moments where he would look at how a lot of the town is dead? Were there no other survivors? Was there no other horses or anything? No other animals that he could use to have walked in the desert? Would he have not taken any supplies? Because it doesn't look like he's got any supplies or guns or much of anything. I think he has one gun, a pistol, but nothing else? Or did he have to sneak away? And if so, how did he sneak away? It just, again, him on the ground and a body's on him, then cut to he's in the middle of the desert. That's what I'm talking about. either this was very piss poor direction by Steve Miner, or a lot of the shit was cut out. I have a feeling with the history of the Weinsteins, a lot of shit was cut out. Because then he comes across this town that's also been burnt down, and then meets Ashton Kutcher, whose leg is trapped, gets him out of there. James Van Der Beek somehow knows that there's people hiring for Texas Rangers. I'm trying to remember, how does he know that? What, did the bad guy say that and I missed it? Or did he find out some other way? Then it jumps to those two get into a town, and Dylan McDermott, Robert Patrick, and Randy Travis come in as part of the Texas Rangers, saying we need to find other people. This guy wants to have a vigilante posse. Dylan McDermott says, no, you can't do that. Pulls a gun at Dylan McDermott. McDermott defends himself and shoots the guy. Again, everything just seems to go in such a fast-forward fashion where all of a sudden this happened. All of a sudden he's part of the Texas Rangers. All of a sudden, Dylan McDermott and him are getting closer. And then all of a sudden, they're talking with the stuttering guy. And the stuttering guy does like 3 things. And then, can I see the guy there? James Van Der Beek shows them to Dylan McDermott. But then the stuttering guy happens to be an assassin who tries to kill Dylan McDermott. But then Dylan McDermott throws a knife and hits the guy. Granted, you don't see anything because what is this rated? Because this can't be rated R, right? Sorry, I have to look this up. I should have looked it up before. I know that's annoying. I was going to say PG-13. I was going to say. More likely it's PG-13 because you don't see much of anything. Which just lessens a lot of the impact when you don't see much of the hits, the bullet hits, or anything of the sort. It's like they wanted to make this Young Guns for the 2000s, but it didn't come close to that. I mean, Young Guns had more of a sense of story, more of an even-handed pacing, more of getting to jive a bit more with the characters, and a build-up, and the shit hits the fan, and you have a bit more grit to it because it is R-rated. Here you have a lot of decent people in the cast that's kind of left in the dust. Robert Patrick is a great actor. He doesn't really have a whole lot to do in the first half except once in a while pop up and say a line or shoot at someone. And he gets a little bit more in the second half, but not a whole lot. Randy Travis, who I actually don't mind as an actor. I liked him in Black Dog. I liked him in the bit role he had in Fire Down Below. He's just along for the ride, and again, says a line or two here, a line or two there. He honestly disappears. Like, I didn't know what the hell happened to him, and then he popped up, and I'm like, damn, he was there all along. I didn't see him, or I kept missing him. Usher, he's there because he just keeps repeating, I'm not a scout. They always make black people a scout because scouts are the first to die. I'm a sharpshooter. I know how to shoot. I'm not a scout, and he knows how to shoot. That's all there is to his character. And there's times he can shoot well. Again, that's all you have for his character. Ashton Kutcher, he's along for the ride. It feels like for a good chunk of the movie, he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't know how to shoot. At one point, he's out of bullets and he pulls a knife and he's scared and someone saves him. At one point, they try to do this thing that might be a love triangle, but it feels like it goes on for less than 2 minutes, if that. And I'm like, was this even a thing? Because, like, they bring it up, and then there's, like, a moment here, and a moment there, and a moment there, and then it's dropped. I'm like, what? Did I miss something here? What the fuck happened? It's just ridiculous, man. Like, I don't want to spoil the rest of the film to just show just how rapid the events happen. So bear with me. So let's start back to when James Van Der Beek and Ashton Kutcher get to join the Texas Rangers. They barely have time to train, and then all of a sudden they're with the Texas Rangers. Then, hey, you can write, fine, you write my diary, and oh, by the way, I'm dying of tuberculosis, and that's why I'm coughing a lot. That's Dylan McDermott. Alfred Molina and his guys come across a stagecoach that's a little bit of a circus act, and this girl can juggle, but she fails at something, so they kill the guy, they kidnap the girl, and Alfred Molina is looking like this, and then a white flash happens. And I'm sitting there going, okay, there must have been a lot of stuff cut out to try to hide a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know, just it's the white flashes just doesn't seem to fit with this kind of film, with this kind of western, at this kind of time period. Just does not fit. That's around the time where the stuttering guy happens to be an assassin. Dylan McDermott kills him. They come across this group of people who are bandits. One of them, I think, is Oded Fair, who was in The Mummy, later be in some Resident Evil films. Pretty much he gets wounded. They get info out of him and this other guy, and then they hang them. And then James Van Der Beek goes, well, that's wrong. How is that justice? And Dylan McDermott doesn't really have, blah, 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 blah. His conversation wasn't really that interesting. I'm sorry. I'm sure in a different movie it would have been interesting, but here it's like, it sounds just pithy. It sounds just with not amount of emotional depth as it should. They'll find Alfred Molina and a lot of other bandits, and Randy Travis and them warn, no, there's a lot of people here. Dylan McDermott's like, no, we're going to do this. They go in, it's an ambush. A lot of Rangers get killed. Granted, none of the people we really know, as in the star people, so not Van Der Beek, not Kutcher, not Usher, not McDermott, not Robert Patrick, not Randy Travis. All the stars are safe. It's just the people you don't give a shit about. Don't know who they are. Don't know what's happening. And that's another thing. Like, during the action, there's some weird editorial choices. Like, let's back up. When Dylan McDermott, we first see him kill someone, it's before Kutcher and Van Der Beek join the Texas Rangers. That's when there's a posse, a vigilante group ready to be made, and the guy's like, we're going to take care of our land, and Dylan McDermott's like, you need to disperse, I'll give you a 1 minute warning. The guy pulls a gun, and then Dylan McDermott shoots the guy. When he does that, there's a brief, like, red flash, like red as in it covers the whole screen. I mean, I don't know if I could do it. Like the whole screen for a split second goes completely red. I don't have anything red, otherwise I show. Okay. This damn thing. Get over here. Imagine like a split second, all of a sudden you see this. And you see like this color red. You see like for a second, and that's such a weird choice. Maybe it was to hide some effect or something. I don't know what it was, the reason for it. And there's other bits where it's like a firefight is happening, and then you have a camera going, choo, choo. I don't know how to describe it. It's just, I don't know if it was like a way to shorten up the fight, or it was a longer action scene and they were just like doing these little tricks to shorten it up or hide the rating to PG-13. I don't know. So they retreat. They go to Tom Skerritt's place. And then again, for 2 minutes or less, Ashton Kutcher and James Van Der Beek see Rachel Lee Cook. They both liked her. At one point, Ashton jumped into James Van Der Beek's tub, and she kind of looked at both of them going, "What you're doing?" And then Van Der Beek kind of and her talk, and then he kind of tossed to Kutcher and says, "Oh, she likes gunslingers," and this kind of ended there. So it's hard to even call a love triangle. It's a love try, love tri, because the triangle barely started. It's a love tri. And then we never mention any of that until the very, very end, where now the girl's with James Van Der Beek, because I'm guessing a lot of that shit was cut out. They try to give Robert Patrick a little bit to do, because they went back to get the bodies of their men, but they found that senorita from the circus that Alfred Molina got earlier. She's still alive. She gives some info. You find out it's the wrong info. But by this point, Robert Patrick has a little bit of a crush on the senorita. But then she screws him over, stabs him in the leg or whatever. James Van Der Beek captures her. Him and Usher find Alfred Molina in them. And then eventually Dylan McDermott gets there too. By this point, they've captured Tom Skerritt. I said this is spoilers, so they kill Tom Skerritt. They let Dylan McDermott's ready to kill the girl because she screwed him over, but she lets her go. Or he lets her go. I'm getting all screwed up. Then they wait and they decide to have a big battle. The bad guys were so smart, they decided to get drunk and pass out. So the good guys come in, they shoot a bunch of people. Ashton Kutcher, like, he's shooting, I don't know if he hits anyone. He's, like, completely useless. I have no idea why Ashton Kutcher was in this movie. I don't know what purpose he served. He didn't really accomplish anything. It didn't seem like he did jack all of shit. I guess what, name recognition? Because did Dude Where's My Car come out at this point? Which I like that film, and that was a hit. Other than him being in the film, James Van Der Beek, I don't mind as an actor. I didn't watch Dawson's Creek, but I've seen him in stuff like Varsity Blues. I don't mind him as an actor. I'm not bothered by him. Ashton Kutcher kind of playing himself. I don't hate him like other people do. I didn't mind some of those punt episodes from MTV back in the day. Like I said, I like Where's My Car? I like the butterfly effect, so I don't dislike him, but he has nothing to do in this. During the battle, James Van Der Beek kills a couple. He saves Dylan McDermott and is able to kill Alfred Molina, the guy who killed his family. So he shoots Alfred Molina a bunch of times, as much as you can, PG-13 style. Robert Patrick doesn't have a whole lot to do. Ashton Kutcher, he's shooting, but I don't know if he even hits anything. He just yells like, "There's people behind us. There's people in front. There's people everywhere." Usher kind of goes in and shoots a few people, but yeah, it becomes all chaos. It's not really that intricately choreographed, so at times you don't know who the hell is where and who's doing what to who. And Randy Travis just like the bid Bowman. He just like a mini done and is yeah, especially you can PG-13 style. So I'm like, oh, Randy Travis, damn, he gets the mini gun and gets to go buck wild. Sadly in PG-13 fashion. Nice moment if you're a Randy Travis fan. As brief as it is and as sanitized as it is. They take the cattle and the prisoners back. James Van Der Beek shares a moment with Dylan McDermott, who's dying of tuberculosis. Cut to James at Dylan McDermott's grave. At least I think it is, just as some crosses. And now he's the leader of the Texas Rangers, and he's going with Robert Patrick, and they ride off, and the movie's over. And like an hour and 21 minutes. And then there's, I don't know, 9 minutes of credits or so, 10 minutes of credits. The one nice note I'll give this film is Trevor Rabin's score. Trevor Rabin, who helped do the score to Con Air with Mark Mancina, which is one of my favorite scores. He also helped work on the score for Armageddon and Deep Blue Sea. He's a good composer. I thought his music was pretty good. I especially liked his theme. I thought his theme was kind of catchy. Bow doo 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 doo, bow doo 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 doo, doo 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 doo. I'm doing a horrible job mimicking it, but badly non-mimicking it. But I think it's actually a pretty good theme, and I think it's a very capable score that's trying its best with what it's working with. But again, the plot becomes very flimsy. The characters barely have any characterizations. There's barely any build-up. It really is just bop, 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 bop. And then again, there seems like there's a lot of shit missing in this movie. You can tell. And it's like watching a Cliff Notes version of a movie. And like I say, it was kind of hard to enjoy on that front. Because you don't really get much proper build-up of any of the characters. Actors like Robert Patrick and Tom Skerritt, I mean, they barely have any meat to the characters they have in this. Dylan McDermott is probably the one who gets the most out of characterization. Again, they throw like this love triangle that barely exists. Again, Randy Travis, for a good chunk of the film, I didn't know where the hell he was at. Like, after the ambush and they run away, I thought he got killed off. Because I didn't see him. Oh, and I swear I didn't hear any dialogue from him. Maybe he was in the background and I kept missing him. And then when they get the final battle, I'm like, oh shit, that's Randy Travis. He's got a minigun. Oh shit, where did that come from? Yeah, this was butchered a lot. The dialogue is flimsy, barely much room for jokes or personality or much of entertainment. The action scenes just come off as bland because you tell even they are cut to pieces, and I did neuter for PG-13. Even Young Guns was rated R. And when you watch this film, you just go, why don't you just go watch Young Guns again? Which I'd rather watch Young Guns again than watch this film. And even the poster, count your bullets. Like, that's the best tagline you have. Count your bullets. I'm curious. I know this film was a flop, but how much of a flop was this? I want to look at the box office. I should have looked at that before, I know. It says the original cut was 110 minutes. That's what it says here. I mean, that alone is... Well, if they say theatrical cut's 90 minutes, so that's 20 more minutes. I mean, when your film is an hour and 50 minutes and you cut... I didn't. They say 90 minutes, but really 10 minutes of this was credits. But when you cut 20 minutes out of it, it says, it does, I mean, it makes a difference. So this cost around $30 million. This made a whopping total of $623,000 in the U.S. And a whopping $763,000 worldwide total. Because, let me see if I can find... So when it came out, it did not even debut in the top 15. I'm trying to see like where the hell this was at, as in how many theaters it was in. It was in 402 theaters when it debuted. 402 theaters. And it got number 20. November 30th. Post-Thanksgiving of 2001. Yeah, debuted at number 20 with $319,000 weekend. Then it went to 26. Then by a third week went number 50. Where it went from 404 theaters to 86 theaters. Because the first weekend it was 319,000 in 402 theaters. By the week after, it dropped 70% to 95,000. Man, that, I mean, so yeah. I don't know if anyone has ever asked Steve Miner about this movie. Probably because people don't know it fucking exists. John Milius claimed that Miramax mutilated his script. They don't have any sense of responsibility. They make a film about anything if they thought it would make some money for them. I think they should give Harvey Weinstein to the Taliban. I'd like to see him on the other side. I'd like to hunt him down in a cave. So, he likes him. But yeah. Because John Milius wanted to do this back in 1992. And he wanted Tommy Lee Jones to star. But I guess they didn't want Tommy Lee Jones to star. So one thing led to another, and the film got picked up and production began in 1999. They had this guy Aaron Kruger write it, or rewrite the script to John Milius. But who knows what happened with all that. So it was filmed in 1999 and not released until 2001. So, there you go. I know I've been talking about this for 34 minutes, but it's just one of those films that, again, this might be like a mediocre film in its unaltered form. But as is, it's just an interesting another example. Another example of what these guys would do with this company of Dimension Films, of this consistent state of affairs. The faculty. I heard there was issues with the faculty, and that's one of the reasons Robert Rodriguez never talks about the film. I don't know if this is true, but I heard Robert Rodriguez, when they were doing that special, that Blu-ray, the one from Stream Factory, that the reason Robert Rodriguez won't do it is because he had issues with the Weinsteins. Also, wasn't his girlfriend, or God, I don't remember the other details, someone he knew that got fucked with Weinstein as well? Anyway, that's the reasons why Robert Rodriguez doesn't really want to talk about that film much, at least not for any in-depth interviews. So, yeah, the Weinsteins messed with a lot of movies. But again, if I ever met Steve Miner, I would definitely ask him about this and like, give me the juicy details. What the fuck happened with this film? Please do. So yeah, sorry it's such a long ass review, but it is what it is. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.